Welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Freya. I'm 47 years old and I had twins 7.5 weeks ago. If you hear something right behind me here, Lola is sleeping. She's our twin girl. Emil is over there on the sofa, and yeah, they might wake up anytime, but she snores. She is the funniest thing. So today I wanted to come on and just talk about how the twin pregnancy felt different to me than my singleton pregnancy. So my daughter is almost 10 years old. She will turn 10 in just a few months in July this year. And so there was a lot of time, a big gap between my two pregnancies. And I have to say, fitness is definitely a huge factor. So my daughter was almost 10 years ago that when she was born. I feel like this time, although it was later in my life, I'm quite a bit older, and it was twins, although on one hand it was a lot harder in some ways, in other ways I recovered much quicker and my body is just in better shape. So it really helped me be more at ease in some ways. So I think recovery this time is much faster and much better because I kept working out throughout my pregnancy as long as I could. I think I worked out until I was like 33, 34 weeks or so, and just the last few weeks I just really couldn't anymore. I kept moving, I still kept walking, but it got really difficult at the end. The most significant difference for me was really the size of my belly and the weight. Just my body weight, because I gained so much weight. I can't even remember now. I think I gained 14 kilos or so. That is, I think, around 30 pounds or so. And for me, that is the most I have ever weighed in my life. And I could tell my feet hurt so much. My legs hurt and everything just felt so heavy. The thing that I did different now in my pregnancy, which really helped, was that I was able to not work so much. So I've been working from home for the past few years. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I'm a performing artist, I'm a singer, and so I was still out and about a lot, doing lots and lots of gigs. Just a couple weeks before my daughter was born, I still did gigs, and I remember that it was hard. I could do it, but it was really hard. It was tiring, and my feet were swollen, which I will get to that this time. And it was just too much. I just did too much, I think, and it was very exhausting. I remember always being tired, and that was also a time before I became a lot more health conscious. I always led a healthy life, really, pretty much. But as far as supplements go and food, I'm so much more intentional nowadays than I was 10 years ago. And I think this made a big difference. So early on in my pregnancy, this time with the twins, I really focused on eating good food, eating a lot of good food. So because I knew that, if I gain a lot of weight in the beginning and I really nourish myself, and luckily, although I was very nauseous, I never had to throw up. I knew that this would set me up for success later in my pregnancy and really increase the chances of me carrying them to full term, which did end up happening. They were born at 38 weeks and 6 days. When I was pregnant with my daughter 10 years ago, it's not that I didn't eat healthy, but I remember eating a lot of white bread, and not a lot, but I just wasn't that focused on just eating healthy food and nutrient-dense foods. I just kind of ate whatever felt good, and although it was not unhealthy, this time I feel I had much more energy. Also, this time I went into my pregnancy knowing my health status. So for the past few years, I've always did like a blood test once a year where I check all kinds of things. My thyroid, which is really important for women, hormone-wise and pregnancy-wise. I know, my vitamin D levels and stuff. So, and I've been taking supplements for the past few years, so that I think my body, I started this pregnancy being really well nourished. Also, I've been exercising for years. I've been running, so my cardiovascular system is quite strong. Also, muscle-wise, I've been doing a lot of body weight training the past few years. I also had a gym membership at some time, but I canceled it because I really can do everything I do there at home. I don't really need the weights. I know how to do all kinds of stuff with my own body weight, and it's fun. So it's easy to get started at any time. I don't have an excuse to not do something at home. When I was pregnant with my daughter 10 years ago, I was not in the same place. It was not that I was never exercising, but not really too much. And I feel it made such a big difference in my energy levels and just the level of consciousness and awareness in my body, being in my body and living in my body. It was so different. It just was another level this time. So the most important thing this time was, like I said, the weight, and then also the fluid retention. That was brutal this time with the twins. It was so uncomfortable. I mean, now looking back, I just can't even believe it. It was so uncomfortable. I mean, really, I felt like my feet were so uncomfortable. Whenever I got up and stepped on my feet, it felt so like they're just getting huge and just so much pressure. I remember lying in the bathtub at night because I often couldn't sleep because of my body weight, and I just was so uncomfortable because of the huge belly. I remember lying in the bathtub with my twins, being in my belly, and I had to put up my legs because as soon as I put my legs in the warm water, they would swell up even more. And so that didn't feel good, but the bath felt good to my body. So I would lie in the bathtub and put my legs up on the side of the bathtub. And that was the only way I could really be comfortable. And also lying in bed, I mean, I could not lie on my back anymore. So that means I really couldn't put up my feet. And it just was brutal. I couldn't put them up, so I ended up, like trying to dry massage, trying to hot and cold shower my legs a lot, and it did help, but it was just so brutal, and that was the most uncomfortable thing, the size of my belly, and like not being able to use my abdominal muscles, so I could hardly get up anymore. Just moving and getting up so much harder than with a Singleton. Another thing that was so different was, feeling movements. I mean, I can't say that was a lot stronger. The movements were not stronger with my twins. It was just a lot more often because, of course, you have two babies, and sometimes they sleep. And potentially when you have two babies, there's always one awake at some time. So I would feel movement often, not necessarily stronger, but more places, of course. And the thing that irritated me was, of course, when you have a Singleton, when you don't feel the baby move, you're always worried and you're like, oh, I don't know, it hasn't moved yet. And then when it moves, you're like, okay, everything's okay. I know 100% for sure. Now with twins, of course, as a mom, worrying comes with the territory at any time. I just never knew. It's like, okay, I felt it on the left all day. What about the right? But you don't know, is it still to where one baby is to the left and the other to the right? So for me, the way they were lying in my tummy, it would change all the time. And, what was in the front and what was back, if it was like the foot here and a hand there or a back here. It was sometimes, I always told myself everything's okay, and I stayed really calm, and I was very confident in this pregnancy, but still, I sometimes worried, a little bit. It's like, okay, I've been feeling it on the left. What about the right? What about the top? I haven't felt anything all day. Another thing is my diastasis recti, where, the separation of your abdominal muscles. It's just crazy. It was crazy this time. Like, after I gave birth, my midwife came to my house every day. Here in Germany, that's what they do for a few weeks. They come every single day. And they take care of me and the babies. And it's a really good feeling to have someone look after you and make sure everything's okay and like answer any questions that you may have or any problems, and just talk about like this transition from, being pregnant to becoming a mom of twins. It's crazy. It's a huge transition in life. But the coning of my abs, it was just crazy. It was like this. It was like a triangle, and it's taking quite a bit of time. I can't remember when I was pregnant with my daughter. I remember having some of the coning, but after giving birth, I don't remember really working on it. This time in my postpartum journey, I'm very focused, I'm very conscious, and I work toward healing a lot. I try to do exercises for my abs, the side abs, my obliques, and then everything that is good to bring those muscles back together. And also I try to do some cardio. I also try to do some pelvic floor exercises because that is so important. I actually started running a little bit just this past week, and it feels good. My pelvic floor muscles are actually strong enough to where I can run. However, as I go for the run, and I drink a lot during the day because I breastfeed the twins, I can tell that as my bladder gets a little fuller, it does get a little harder to hold, my urine. So that is definitely not back to normal. And it's been 7.5 weeks. Definitely I will need a lot more time, and I will give myself the time. But the difference is that this time I'm really working on it. And it makes me happy. I have a goal, and I'm someone, I always need goals. With the twins also, with the pregnancy, I had, everyone always told me like, oh, twins are usually never going to term. They might come early. And although, I was fully aware of like, yeah, that might happen. And it's, some things are way beyond my control. I made sure I did anything and everything I possibly could to help a positive outcome. And with my daughter's pregnancy, it was just a little bit more like, I don't know, I was more like, putting a lot on myself, and I wasn't as aware of things that I did. I just kind of let it go. Whatever happened. And this time, because, it's almost, oh, the dishwasher is done. Romy, kannst du mal kurz aufmachen, weil ich mache gerade noch ein Video. Oh, the beeper is going, so maybe my daughter's just gonna open it up and she's gonna stop it. Danke, Schatzi. This time it's just, it is so cool to actually have a plan, to know what I'm doing, and to be proud of myself, to have a goal to work toward. And because also everyone of course said, oh, you're 47. It kind of made me want to prove to myself and to the world that it's not necessarily always that, just because you're this certain age or just because you're having twins, you are automatically like, okay, this is just what's going to happen. It is an individual thing, maybe not so much age. I think there are women who are 20 years younger than me who are in less great shape. And that are having more difficulties. And so, it's always my thing. It's like, people saying like, oh, I'm too old. I just hate saying that. There are definitely things in life that physically you get older, and that's normal. And then biology just ages, and that's normal. And then beyond a certain age, women don't ovulate anymore, and we're not supposed to have babies. That's okay, that's normal, and it's not a disease. It's, menopause is not a disease, and it doesn't have to be horrible. That's just something that I want to prove to myself, and maybe a little bit show others, like, it doesn't have to be all that, like what everyone expects it to be. If you, as an individual, try to take really good care of yourself and try to invest and really take care of your body, and do whatever you can do to maybe have a better outcome as you age, it's totally possible. And I'm such an advocate for, just living more intentionally and healthy, because I always tell myself my body is the temple that I live in. Whether you believe in God or not, this is like sacred. Without your body, you live in it. Without it, you're not here, right? You live in this body. This body is the vessel that we exist in. So I think it's so important to take care of this body, because it will determine my quality of life largely. once you're sick, you realize, or, you know, when I was pregnant, I realized like how much I needed this body. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't lift. I couldn't do things that are normally so normal and like just totally easy for me. I could not do those things. Just buying groceries, just getting in the car. We take that for granted every day, but then when you can't, it's like, wow, my body actually does a lot every day, and it's really important that it works and that it functions. I think it's important to take care of yourself, and I always love inspiring others to show it is possible. That doesn't mean that, you know, anything can go any way, you know, even like any pregnancy, whether you're younger or older, whether you're carrying a singleton or multiples. There are so many factors. I mean, some of them you can control and some of them you can't. Just trusting in your body and feeling your body and knowing when, you know, where's your limit. I could always tell like where does it stop? Like how far can I go and it's still okay for me, and when is it too much? And it's important that you as an individual know that. You can feel it. It's not my doctor who can tell me how far I can go. He doesn't know. Like when I work out, if it had been up to him, he would have said, well, don't work out, don't do anything. But I think working out was the very thing that actually helped me have a really good outcome, and to have the birth experience that I had, to be able to birth my babies at home, just with my midwives in peace. It was just awesome. It was just amazing to feel like, okay, my body can actually do it. And I think if I had just laid down a lot and not done anything physically during my pregnancy, I might have not been able to do that. And of course, there are cases when you do need bed rest. And I'm very grateful that I was never on bed rest. I didn't have any bleeding. I'm just grateful. Another big difference was, of course, my appetite. I was very, very nauseous in the beginning. I mean, the nausea was definitely double in comparison to my singleton pregnancy. But it didn't last longer. It was, for me, it always happened exactly like around 12 weeks. It just slowly went away, and it did that the same time with the twins as it did with the singleton. But then toward the end of the pregnancy, so much sooner, I could not eat so much anymore because I constantly felt full. 2 babies take up a lot of space in your body, so it was really hard to eat more. And because I constantly thought, like, I think I just ate Madden. Okay, I had to pause the video. I had a visitor. The babies woke up. I had to breastfeed them. And now we put them in here. I think they're not gonna sleep much longer. But I need to wrap up this video. I think I talked about all the things that are different that for me felt different between the singleton and twin pregnancy. If you have watched this video, you probably are pregnant with twins. And so congratulations. You can do it, mama. You are strong. Be careful. Always be on the safe side. Listen to your doctor, but also listen to your body. It's so important. Do your research. Research online, research on Google Scholar. I always love reading studies, to not just take one doctor's word, but just kind of see how is everything and what do we know about the topic. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for more videos about our life with the twins, and I hope to see you next time.